Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very, very welcome. I trust you enjoyed my last request. It was so good to do a request. Lonnie Gordon, her song Gonna Get You was very much about, hey, sometimes somebody needs to make a move to get a relationship to actually get off the ground. So I trust you found that one encouraging, passion, desire, all of that sort of stuff. We're going from there to 1979 in Liverpool, but in 1977 we were in the punk era back in this time. Pete Burns had been in a few bands including Mystery Girls, and he started to form a bit of some guys around him, gothic post-punk genre. Rainbows Over Nagasaki, what a great name for a band that one is. The group would record demos, but there would continue to be lineup changes until 1980 when Pete said, hey, you know what, I think I like the name Dead or Alive. And so the band we're talking about today is Dead or Alive. There did continue to be some lineup changes, but we would settle eventually. The band would release a series of independent singles. And some of these singles, because these guys were starting to get a bit of a following, Pete Burns is very eccentric, effervescent, and he just has this way about him that really, really works. He is the all-encompassing, compelling front guy. He's not afraid to show his personality on stage, and I think the crowd have really, really responded to that. The Stranger got to number 7, and so Epic Records said, oh, hang on a minute, I think we might be onto a bit of a thing here. I think we better sign Dead or Alive up, and they did so. And the first single that was released under Epic Records was Misty Circles. I've got a studio version of this one below. This got to number 100 in the UK singles charts. It would eventually come off the album Sophisticated Boom Boom that was released in 1984. So I've got a studio version of this one below. And you can see what I mean by Pete. He just has a way about him, doesn't he? He's very, very unique. And I think no one else is quite like him. He has been likened a little bit to Boy George, but you know, there's just something also quite different about him as well. I quite like people who are not scared to be themselves. So we've got a studio version of Misty Circles. A couple of other singles were released, What I Want and I'd Do Anything, but success was a little bit elusive for Dead or Alive up until this point. But when the 1984 album Sophisticated Boom Boom came out, they did get a top, which actually ended up peaking at number 29 in the UK charts. They had a bit of a top 40 single with That's the Way, I Like It, which was a cover of a Casey and the Sunshine Band classic song of theirs. And these guys, Dead or Alive, also did really, really well with this song as well. And again, you can see that Pete Burns is really getting into his stride with the way he's going to be on stage. He cites Sophisticated Boom Boom as just an album with very many happy memories. There wasn't much in the way of commercial pressure at this point. But the world was going to continue to evolve for Dead or Alive, and in 1985 the album Youthquake was released. What a great name for an album that one is. And Stock Aitken and Waterman. Now these guys were famous for some Kylie Minogue songs a bit later. They were just starting out as producers, and Dead or Alive said, you know what, can you please produce something for us? And now came the song you just have to talk about when you talk about Dead or Alive. You spin me around, round, baby, right round, like a record. You spin me round, spin you right round. And so this song was absolutely massive for Dead or Alive. It got to number 1 in the UK singles charts, number 11 in the US charts, and number 1 in Canada. Below, I've got a live version and the official clip of this one below. I'd hate to be this guy. He doesn't know where he is with this girl. This girl is just making life really, really complicated for him. He doesn't know if he's doing the right thing, if he's not doing the right thing. One day he's wanted, the next minute he's not. The next minute she's going out with her friends, the next minute she's staying home. He just does not know what she is doing. Obviously, as a guy, we don't want to do that, but I'm sure it happens in the world. We always got to be mutual with these things because both males and females can make it complicated for their partners. Absolutely, but this is a bit of a thing because first of all, this guy is totally invested in this relationship. Like he is in love here. Now, I've always said in the past that first of all, love is patient and kind. So the concept of in love means that both of you are in love. Well, it sounds to me like the girl's just all over the place. And she doesn't really know what she wants and just making life really, really hard and confusing. The guy just can't understand it, working it out. And he's lying in his bed at night and his brain's just reeling. He doesn't know who he is. But he likes this girl too, and so he doesn't want to muck it up. And I think this is the thing about guys a little bit too, is that we don't want to muck things up and we feel like we're going to. That's certainly been my experience of a few years back. But we don't want to be spun around like a record. We don't want to be confused. We don't want life confusing. What do we want a relationship to be? We want it to be peaceful and we want it to be calm. We also want to be exciting, and we're always courting the other person and wooing them, and passion and affection and absolutely all of that, keeping things fresh as well. But there's a stability here that this guy's just not experiencing. And the way the song actually sounds, there's just a lot of restlessness in this song as well. So if you are in a committed relationship, let's just call it that, guy or girl, I'm talking to both of you right now, don't make it hard for the other person. Don't make it confusing for the other person, because the other person's also dealing with their own feelings and thoughts about the fact they're in a relationship. And it takes time and work and a lot of mental energy to be in a relationship. I mean, it's all worth it if the relationship is strong. But when it's not, it becomes very, very confusing. So I think maybe the thing to do is, hey, look, how are we going? Are we in this thing? If we are, can we work out what we want? And that way we can just take that pressure of being spun around constantly out of the picture. And what replaces that is calmness and peace and excitement and a bit of hope for the future, and maybe the word forever. This is what we want, don't we? We want these words. We don't want to be spun around like a record. So the encouragement for all you couples out there, let's make it easy for each other. Absolutely. You could almost an argument to say that if you are the person spinning the person around, why are you doing that? Are you wanting to exert power on the person? Are you wanting to make life hard for the person? Well, that's not a good way to be, because if it was coming back the other way, you wouldn't like it. And so I think we've also always got to consider what we're doing now, and would we want to do that? We want to be treated that way. Well, if we don't, make it easy for the other person, because the other person, probably loves you and wants to have a relationship. So let's make life easy for each other. We don't want to be spun around like a record. Absolutely not. Because the issue is that the only way that a record can stop spinning is for it to be taken off the record player. Now, records have come back of late, but that means leaving the relationship. Well, I don't want to leave the relationship. I actually like this person, but I don't want to be spun around at the same time. So there's a lot of emotional investment in relationships that needs respect from both parties. So I trust you find that one encouraging. So below we've got a live version and official version of that one below. Another song off that album, Lover Come Back to Me. Maybe the guy left because he was sick of being spun around, and the girl's thinking, oh, hang on a minute, maybe I was a bit cruel, please come back to me. Don't have to knock on my door. I'm going to make life really, really easy for you from now on. This song got to number 11 on the charts. It got a studio version of that one below. We also got In Too Deep, and this is the other thing about relationships. At some point, you've got to go all in, and you're going into something that we're not completely certain about, but the relationship is so good and love is so amazing, you're going to go in too deep. So we've got a studio version of that one below. In 1986, we got Mad, Bad and Dangerous to Know. What a great album that one is, great title that one is. Brand New Lover. So maybe the guy thought, nah, I don't think I'll ever stop being spun around with you, so I need to go and break out to something new. So got to number 31 in the UK charts, number 15 in the Hot 100 Billboard, and number 1 in the Billboard Dance Chart. The thing about Dead or Alive was that they were very much a dance band, and people get up on the dance floor when these songs were played. So I've got an official clip of that one below. So between 1984 and 2021, 6 studio albums, 6 compilation albums. 84 to 21 is actually quite a long time. Let me think about it. That's 37 years. Long time, actually. 28 singles, 2 video albums, 17 music videos. These guys have sold, wait for it, 50 million albums. So these guys were absolutely massive, actually, and they well and truly have contributed to this collaborative legacy of this thing called music. So it's great to give Dead or Alive a bit of a go today. So the links to those 7 clips are in the description below. And I've also included my last video from Lonnie Gordon when I did the request that we're going to get you. So if you want to recap on her, feel free. Well, if this is your first time, the Life Reflections through Music, or you come back for another one, how great to see everybody here. Well, that's it for today. Next time we're going to go on to Blancmange. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.